Hello. I'm busy restructuring my questions.
Hello.
Are we live?
Yeah. Hello.
Buongiorno.
Romeo. If I'm the creator of my reality, then why do people that I don't want to die anyway? Nobody dies. You're the creator of your reality, but that person is the creator of their reality. So when they're ready to go, they go. You create everything that affects you. And yes, you might prefer if some people stayed around longer, but they are around. They're just now in a non-physical form. What does it even mean to be the creator of your reality, and how does one create it? You decide how you want your day to go. You decide how you want people to respond to situations. Do you want a positive, easy day, or do you want one filled with conflict and difficulty? You create who you're friends with, which affects what activities you do, what job you have, what you eat, how you feel, how you react to different stimuli. It's all you. If there's something that you want, you can manifest it. I know my father doesn't feel any resistance anymore, and I'm happy about that, but does the human version of my father have anything to say to me and my family? Does he think we should sell or rent the house? At this time, renting, because in the long run you can make more. But once the market hits its peak, you should sell, and you'll get the urge to sell. Something will click with you. Just to keep moving forward. Keep appreciating, keep acknowledging signs when you see them. And don't dwell on things, just keep moving forward, keep it in motion. So now that my mom is a widow, she worries about the future and raising 5 kids on her own. So is there anything that my dad has to say to her about that? Don't use the term widow. She just has someone who transitioned. Widow makes it sound like an old maid, like a, widow spider. Her husband transitioned, that's all. And 5 kids is nothing. Some people raise 12. So there's not so much worry about it. She knows she can rely on other people. Some of the kids are older, they're more independent, so it's not like she has 5 2-year-olds on her own. So just take it day by day. And she created the reality, even if she doesn't think she did. Her higher self did, and there's something to learn from this situation. I'm currently located in Texas. When Radiant Wild Seth starts traveling and doing seminars, would they be willing to travel to Texas? Well, everything is bigger in Texas, including paychecks, so yes. Likely because that is somewhere Randy wants to go, and it connects to other states, and because that's somewhere that Esther travels, we already know there's fan bases there, so yes, highly likely. Do you or Randy dislike it when I refer to you guys as Radiant Wild Seth? No, it doesn't matter. Any of those words work well. Seth, are you moving Randy's body right now, or is Randy the one that is controlling her body and translating your blocks of thought? She does it only if it's like she feels an itch, but it's me. Like, she can overtake it if she wants, but it's me doing it. So if she decides, we're done here, Seth, go away, it just takes a second and I'm gone. But like in the beginning, it was more like a light trance, so she'd be like, okay, move something, and then I would move her arms. But then right after, she would be in control again. But yes, right now this is me doing the movements. So if Seth is made up of 3 separate energies, then how many energies make up Abraham? And are the 3 energies that make up Seth similar? Are they different? Why those 3 specifically? Who are the 3 individuals? Do they have names? Abraham is like 4 to 5. But it shifts. So throughout the time that Abraham has worked with Esther, it has shifted. Because once the teacher gets what they wanted out of the experience, they can like graduate on. The 3 of us have worked together for a long time, but we all wanted the experience, and we are experienced to do this. We have the knowledge where we all have the same goal of teaching and expansion, but we are different so that we can cover more, so that there's different styles of processes or teaching. We don't use names anymore. We just go by Seth. Like, names are a very physical thing, but we're so far beyond names that we don't even use them anymore. What is enlightenment? Is it just a fancy word for being in the vortex and being in alignment with one's inner being? Pretty much. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. They're all just different terms. It's like using a thesaurus. In the vortex. One with source. Aligned. Vibrating high. Enlightened. It's all the same. It's all being at that top emotional level. I imagine that it feels good to die because it feels good to sleep. Does sleep feel like death? And does death feel like sleep? Or are they 2 completely separate things? What is sleep anyway? What happens from a non-physical perspective while we sleep? Death does not hurt, even if you have a really gruesome transition. So if you get hit by a semi-truck as a pedestrian, before the truck hits the physical body, the soul is pulled out so that it's almost like a shadow of you is left, so that there's something to direct the body, but you are not actually in the body. The body is just there, it gets hit, and you die, and then it's over. So you never actually experience that unless you desire like a drawn out one. So maybe you have cancer for months on end, or you have some kind of accident where you're, alive for a couple hours while you're injured. Some people come for that experience, but the majority of the time you're pulled out before it happens. So the death part, yes, it is kind of like sleep. It's just relaxing. It's just you're kind of pulled out of your body. And There is sleep because there's this idea that you need to regenerate, which in a way you do, but you don't need nearly as much as you're told. You know, they recommend 6, 7, 8 hours. You really only need 3 or 4. When people are in the vortex, that's when they get insomnia and that's when they sleep less. But you do need it. You can't just never sleep again. And then when you are dreaming, you're traveling to different places, or you're kind of like in this kind of like playground where you learn different lessons that you need to move forward or to work out a solution in either a literal or like a, you know, figurative, artistic, kind of off the wall way so that it clicks for you. So it's like a learning place. It's kind of like going to school, but it's more fun. Okay. Are there any strange undiscovered creatures living deep underneath the ocean? And if so, can you describe what some of them look like? They're just creatures living deep in the ocean right now. Well, Megalodon did exist, that enormous shark. There are currently still 3, at least. 3 that want to be known, that have been seen by locals, that exist and appear. It is the biggest known and unknown at the moment. There aren't really anything bigger than it anymore. Yes, there's all sorts of like small, weird looking, you know, skeletal fish, the ones with the big long antenna and the light bulb, stuff like that, really weird looking fish. Deep below, there's different kinds of shellfish, like starfish, except they look more like sun starfishes, where they have like lots of legs, but these ones have long, kind of twisty, and then short as well, so it really looks like a sun. And they're all sorts of different colors, but for the most part it's just variations of creatures that you already know about. And the Megalodon. What is so special about the crystal skulls, and who created them, and for what reason? And why do the crystals have to be in the shape of a skull? Well, it's so that it humanizes it a bit, so that people are like, oh, there's these aliens with crystal skulls. So it's not just like this really cool rock, it's like it's got more of a personal, more of a human touch to it. It's just another tool for enlightenment where people draw energy from it or worship it, and it was just meant to be a tool that could be, you know, used to increase one's knowledge. How does one know if they're meditating correctly? What is a sure sign that you're in a meditative state? If you feel completely at ease and you have no wandering thoughts, you are meditating. If you feel half asleep, maybe you've closed your eyes and you start to see different colors and shapes, you almost feel like you're in between sleep and awake, and you kind of feel like a feeling rush over you, and that's when you're meditating. If you set an alarm or you have a tape and when it ends you feel yourself snap out of it, that's when you're meditating. Like, the sure sign would be the feeling. Do you feel relaxed? Because there's different levels of how deep you go into a meditative state, but the sure sign is feeling relaxed. Seth, is there anything that you miss about being physical here on Earth? Do you want to be physical again? Have you already reincarnated with someone here on Earth? Part of me is currently on Earth, yes. in not a human form, in a animal form. What you miss mostly is tasting and eating foods and drinks. That's always fun. And, the close, intimate partner. All those fun things. But you can get similar feelings in non-physical. But, of course, never is quite the same. As we get bigger, does time accelerate? It seems that the smaller you are, the slower time is, and vice versa. Is this how the created experience was set up, or is it just a matter of perception? Well, as a smaller being, things take a lot longer of time. So an ant compared to a lion. So things take a lot more time. So a year in the life of an ant, you've probably accomplished a lot less than a year in the life of a lion. Like, you've definitely gone a shorter distance. So it is more about perception, but it's also about the lifespan of certain beings. Ants don't have as long a lifespan. Bees don't have as long a lifespan as a larger animal like an elephant or a lion or dogs. So, yes, it's more a perception thing. Where on Earth is non-physical located? Is it even on Earth? Is Earth a part of non-physical, or is non-physical part of Earth? No, they're completely separate. It's like this, idea of heaven and hell and Earth in the middle. You can think of it as in the sky, like it is a totally different plane of being, but people in non-physical can visit here. They just are non-physical, so you can't see them, but they are here. Can you see creatures and animals in the non-physical realm? Are there insects in the non-physical realm? Only if you want to, because you're creating it. So some people want to hunt, so they create a forest location with all sorts of game. Typically people don't choose insects. They're not well liked unless it's like butterflies, or people like bees, but like stingless bees or caterpillars. Some people like that, so they'll invite it in, especially like if it's someone who has a garden setting or they're sitting among flowers and wildlife. But typically people do not have mosquitoes, flies, ants, all those kind of bugs. Those are seen as pests. What are densities? For example, fourth density and fifth density. That I will need more information on. I think you are referring to different dimensions where there are more heightened senses, but we will have to come back to that one. I've heard that we're in a much denser dimension than non-physical. Sometimes I ran into a really high-pitched ringing sound. Is it due to the presence of an entity, or is it something else, or is it just my imagination? Often it gets brushed off as your imagination when it is not. If you hear something distinct, you've heard something, whether it's physical or non-physical. It could be a guide alerting you to something. It could be a sound thought. So it's like a thought form where, like, say at a hospital, if there's a ward where lots and lots of people have passed away there might be a lot of energy associated there, so you can still hear like cries or squeals or something, because it's just kind of stuck in that area. But yes, if you hear a high-pitched noise, you're hearing something from non-physical giving you that sound. How did the planet come to be, and how long ago in years did Earth begin to exist? Millions. Millions of years. Far longer than any timeline displays. They're all inaccurate. The planet came to be because there's people looking for physical experiences, and there are other planets where you can have that, but for this one, there was a different asking, and it was more for a variety of landscapes, a variety of animals, different temperatures. It was more that. So, collectively, Earth came about over quite some time. Is it a desire to experience from non-physical that creates a physical experience such as this existence? What was the first thing to ever be experienced physically by non-physical beings? Was Earth the first physical experience ever? So that ties into the last one. Yes, it is the desire for physical experience, but it is also to keep progressing. You go through different levels of experience. And you have to learn certain things in physical to go beyond. So between that and yes, the desire for a physical experience, that's how you get here. Earth was not first, no. There's been quite a few planets and solar systems before that. The first thing ever to be experienced by the first being in a physical place would just be walking, crawling, touching the things around them. It would just be interpreting the environment. I think you've mentioned before that humans have been able to physically levitate before. How can one go about doing that? That requires deep meditation and the knowing that it is possible. Some people do it regularly. Usually if you're laying down, it's easier. You can start with just your arms or just your legs being moved, and then eventually your whole body. Or you could be standing and you'll feel yourself move up. But yes, it just takes deep concentration, meditating. That's how you do it. What does Randy feel while channeling you? And what does it feel like to be channeled? It's kind of if you put on a costume for Halloween. You have you, and then you zip on a costume. You're under, but you feel the costume over top. So she's underneath, and she can just kind of... Well, no, she's more of the shell, but she can feel the body, the being inside her. So it just kind of feels like, I guess, like, you know, when your foot falls asleep and it tingles a little bit, it's almost like that, but it's much lighter. To be channeled, it would be the opposite. So because I am in the host, it feels like almost I'm wearing like a snowsuit. I can feel the thing on top of me. But again, it's quite light, so it's a noticeable feeling of something that is not you with you. How old are you, Seth? I want a number because my limited human mind cannot comprehend the concept of infinity. It's in like the 100,000s. It goes on and on and on. But yeah, I just think of it within the 100,000s. What are numbers? How did numbers come to be? Do you know about magic squares? I'm obsessed with magic squares, and I'm pretty sure you know why. Well, numbers are used for counting so that you can calculate all sorts of stuff, and because it's People find it really fun to calculate math things, but numbers are more for like cooking, paychecks, adding things up, trading, bartering. It's a practical purpose, but and then also figuring out calculations, for building, things like that. So that's how numbers came about, because it's very practical. I believe the magic squares you are referring to are the portals where planes cross over, and you can see an obvious square where you can cross to another plane. And yes, they do exist if you are willing to see them and they're ready to be seen by you. How did Edward Scanlan build Coral Castle? They had a lot of help. With a lot of asking and manifesting and physical help and levers and sound levitation and different techniques. Less physical than you think, more with sound. Can I choose to reincarnate without forgetting my current life? No. Must my memory be wiped out every time I become physical? Yes. Who are the men in black who keep wiping out my memory anyway? It would be too confusing. It would be like if you were bipolar. You would have two different things going on. It'd be way too confusing for human knowledge, but when you do progress onwards and go to higher levels, you can keep the memories because you are able to keep them separate. So at a point you will be able to do that, but not right now. It's not Men in Black who do it, it's just part of the process of coming in as a baby. It's just once you transition through, it just automatically happens. It's like you're going through a shower and it washes over you and takes it all away. Rocky. What other systems are there besides the physical systems? No, thank you. There are... well, there's all sorts, but there's ones where it's all emotion based. So anything your emotion does, you automatically have a reaction. So, maybe someone's really upset and they start crying, so then there's a downpour of rain. Or someone's really excited, so flowers start singing. It's everything you do, there's a reaction through the environment. There's non-physical, obviously. And then there's ones where everything is more based on sound and like echolocation. It's less visual, it's more to enhance your hearing. There's all sorts. You'll get to them eventually. How did sound convey weight and mass? Anything that's brought into physical becomes physical. So sound is included. When you speak something, it's made into a thing, which then has a physical being. So sound, kind of think of it as the wind. So if you get, those wind drums where you yank on the string and it hits the plastic and it throws wind, well, that obviously has weight behind it. If you think of a twister, there's weight behind that. And that's how you get sound Once you get enough of it moving, you get the momentum, that's when you can get weight behind it. And it becomes more physical. Good? Okay, Romeo. So if you're not a god, then who or what is God? Can you please explain what God is, Seth? God is made up. God did exist at one point, but God is not the be-all, end-all that you think. There are different gods people think of, but they were either once a physical being or it's just a story that's been passed on. There is no like highest power except for source. There's just source energy that you all come from. So you can think of source as your God if you want, but nothing claims the title God. That's a human thing to try and guide you with morals and such, but it's kind of blown out of proportion nowadays. People say we are all connected. How are we all connected exactly? Do you know my higher self? And is there anything that my higher self would like tell me? What is my higher self doing right now? Everything is derived from source. So yes, everything is connected, whether how closely or more distantly. I personally do not know every single person's higher self, but you can connect with your higher self. You can do automatic writing, you can meditate and ask to be shown and to have it clear to you. Your higher self always wants you to just keep moving forward. Anything you're inspired by, do. If you get an impulse, do it. You're supposed to be spontaneous and have fun. If it feels good, do it. If it doesn't, don't. It's really simple. It just gets more complicated by, for whatever reason, humans have made it complicated. But if it feels good, go for it. We all love a good story. I've heard that stories are the best ways to teach and learn. I think that all teachers, no matter the grade level, should teach using stories as much as possible. Can you explain why stories are the best way to teach and learn? It's because you don't realize you're being taught something. It's like tricking kids by putting vegetables into smoothies. All they know is that it tastes good, but in reality they're also getting vegetables. A story like that teaches the law of attraction is an easier way to learn than if you're just given like a guidebook of this is law of attraction, this is how it works. Stories are just, they're more fun. It's like watching a movie. Instead of having to learn about something, you just get to sit there and watch it and absorb it. So it's just a tool that's easy, that's subtle, and it's not dry or dull. Who are the Freemasons? What do they do at the highest level? Is there anything bad or dangerous about them? Why are they so secretive? There's nothing bad about anyone, but the Freemasons do not, their purpose is not for evil or wrongdoing. They're secretive because they wanted to be like a selective, small society. They wanted that, like, oh, look at me, I'm special. That's what they sought, which isn't a bad thing. It was just the experience they wanted. They wanted a selective group experience. And they're more just like a group that spends time together, comes up with ideas, and then creates things. That's more or less what they are. What took place and what was said when we made contact with extraterrestrial beings during Reagan's presidency? It was more just like a conversation of peace. If you have knowledge you can trade, let's trade. Here's some information from us you might find useful. That was about it. There wasn't extended contact. There was, several conversations, but it was kind of like well, now we know you exist, you know we exist, and now we will go on and continue with our lives, and maybe we'll meet again. There's, no bad feelings. It's just like you've explored a new forest and a new creature, and it was very civil. What is this power source used by extraterrestrial spacecraft that the U.S. military has reverse engineered? In The Simpsons, the factory they work at with the glowing green blocks is something like that. It's condensed energy in a light physical form that powers things. And that's about all there is on it. They don't really have a term for it. Well, I mean, the aliens do, but the government doesn't really have a distinct, correct term for it. But that's more or less what it is. And they don't really run out of power. They just have to be recharged every once in a while. So they last quite a while. A lot of artists use their imagination when depicting dinosaurs. But what color were T-Rexes and other well-known dinosaurs? Were dinosaurs hairy, bald, and fleshy as we know them? Some were kind of furry, hairy, like chickens, like bird types. Lots of them had feathers, really bright blue, purple, greens. But more or less, yes, they were more scaly because of the heat. And there were red ones, there were green ones. There were ones that blended in, so the more bland brown and green and yellow colors, but there were red ones that were feared, and there were creatures that were like lighter blues, like dark navy blues, almost black. There's, across the board pretty much, except for like hot pink and purple. Those are more in feathers and in birds. Okay, this might seem like a bit of a mundane question, but I really need to know. What is the purpose of lightning? What is electricity? It's just a surge of power. It's just to remind people of the power in the sky and the universe. It doesn't have like a purpose per se, although sometimes they start fires, which might be needed for whatever reasons, but it's more or less just souls coming for the experience to be a powerful, hot source of energy. Electricity is what turns lights on. It's just harnessed energy to be used for human consumption in a really convenient way. Given my current desires and ambitions, what is the best advice you can give me at this point in my experience, Seth? Wear sunscreen. You live in Texas. Keep asking for what you want, and don't think anything is outside of your reach, because the asking is always the same. If you're asking for a truck, a car, a girlfriend, a dog, a watch, new shoes, a house, it doesn't matter the monetary value, it's the asking, and it's just the knowing that you can have it, the feeling like you have it, the feeling good that brings it to you. So anything that you want, you can ask for. What is the best advice that you can give anyone tuning in right now? It's the same thing. Just ask for what you want. You can always have it. There's no limit. You can always have what you are wanting, and if you are inspired to do something, do it, because something is pushing you for a reason. Okay, Rocky. What are the different ways that non-physical communicate with physical man besides communicating with emotions? Physical signs, so feathers, coins, a song that you listen to, a perfume smell, rainbows, whatever symbol was important between you, maybe it keeps appearing. If you had a pet that passed on that you're really close with, maybe you see, and it was a white dog, maybe you see white dogs everywhere. And it's trying to show you.
Just on that, Seth, is emotion a universal thing? Like, is it something that on different planes that is the communication between non-physical and the physical? Like, is that the chosen means of communication?
Yes, but there are worlds where you can just speak it out and get a response back. But that's a much higher level where you've developed more, where you've gotten to the point of knowing how to communicate with emotions.
Okay, so what's beyond that?
Just speaking and having a response.
What do you mean, though? What do you mean by that, though?
You're asking about communication with non-physical.
Yeah.
Well, someone in non-physical, if you wanted to talk to them, you can say out a request and get a reply back.
Who would be replying back? Would it be
whoever you're speaking to?
Okay.
Your higher being, your grandpa, whoever.
Your inner being?
Any one of your choosing.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Oh, Robin Williams, what's a good joke?
Okay.
Higher level though.
Okay, cool.
Rocky, why do some come forth into the physical planes as teachers, channel mediums? What do they get from the experience, knowing that they're smarter than the rest? It's the experience of being on the leading edge. It's almost like you know more, but you're not the type where it's like a secret that you want to keep to yourself. It's something you're excited to share. Anytime someone you teach succeeds, you in turn succeed. So it's a lot of movement and energy and momentum, and it's a lot of expansion quickly. For mediums who connect people with people who have transitioned, it's very rewarding emotionally to see people heal and know that they can move on and continue with their experience. They're not hung up anymore. It's the same reason as why would somebody want to be an elementary school teacher. You see someone succeed and it's enjoyable.
Okay.
And you're interacting with like-minded people, so it's fun, and because everyone's so positive and like-minded and wanting to experience new things, you have really unique experiences. Like if you do a cruise, you might see 100 killer whales. If you go on a safari tour, you might see every single animal that country has to offer. You have unlikely, rare events happen to you.
How do you know that you're here to teach? How do you inherently know that you came forth to teach?
Automatic writing, meditating, go see a medium. In your dreams, you're getting communication. If it feels right to be doing that, if it feels like the next logical step, if you feel like unfulfilled at other jobs, but not necessarily when you're spiritually teaching, but when you're just showing someone how to do something small, and you think, okay, that felt good, well then, you're likely meant to keep doing that. They say that the people that emit the strongest emotions from you also teach you the most about yourself. Why is that? Yes, it could be good or bad. Well, someone you hardly think about and you're just kind of like, meh. Obviously, they're not going to teach you much, but if you have a sibling who really bothers you, who you really have to work at getting along with, seeing their point of view, finding common ground, well, obviously you've done a lot more work to get there, so you've evolved a lot more. someone you really get along with, who you have really fun experiences with, who you find you're joyful with a lot of the time, well, you've had really good positive experiences with them. Obviously, you've learned a lot more from them than if it was someone who you just meet up for a coffee and it's kind of blah.
Okay. Very good.
That's it. That was 45 minutes of pre-questions.
Yeah, I know. No, I meant, yeah, okay. No, is that all the Romeos? Oh, wait, good. Well, I suppose we could end early today if if there's no more questions.
Excuse me?
Well, I don't know.
Are you fresh out?
Well, those are the ones that came to me. I can't really think of it. If you want to speak about something, any subject, or
Oh, wait.
okay.
So you create your reality. You can set the intention the night before or the morning of for how you want the day to go. But during the day, if something is not going as you like it, you can also switch it just by thinking, it would be nice when this was over. It would be nice if this changed. It would be nice if this had a positive outcome. And then it can, just by thinking that way, you can alter it. If you're on a bus and it breaks down, it'd really be nice if the bus started right away, or if the bus miraculously recovered right away, and you can influence it.
Nice.
Good evening, Randy. Are you ready for the snow tomorrow in Grand Prairie? Yeah, so just because something starts good, perhaps it will continue to be good, because typically when things are going good, you're feeling good, you're appreciating, so you get more and more and more. But if there's a slip up and it goes down a bit, you can always alter it to go back up again.
Okay.
It doesn't have to continue to go downhill. It can go
And
back.
What do you recommend for doing that?
Well, you'll feel it right away that you don't like it, so it'd be nice if this happened, or this happened, or this happened, and you keep giving yourself possibilities. There's options, there's hope, there's something different coming.
Okay, good. I like it.
But sometimes it takes people, especially in the beginning, a bit to, they just kind of are annoyed and, ugh, why is this happening? This sucks. And then they're like, wait a second, I don't like this, so let's change it. They forget that they can change it in the beginning, and then it just is second nature.
Yeah. Yeah, I find I catch stuff all the time, early. Now, I mean, before it used to be a struggle, and now it's just second nature to when I see stuff that I don't necessarily want, I just do processes in my head
Daniel Radcliffe wore the same dirty hat and jacket for 6 months in order to frustrate paparazzi because the pictures would always look old and couldn't be sold. thinking outside the box.
Nice. Well, very good.
Mm. With food, no food is bad for you, otherwise it wouldn't be edible. Duh. So if you have the urge to eat that cake, eat the whole cake if that's what your heart desires. Do not judge yourself. Do not feel bad. There is nothing to feel bad about. There are vitamins in everything you eat. It's just that scientists have only discovered certain vitamins in certain foods, so they get labeled as the good foods. So when you go to the grocery store, you can have a list with you as a general guideline, but I would keep room for things that you see that maybe you haven't had in a long time and you're like, wow, I really want to try that again. That looks really good. And things that maybe you've never seen before that suddenly stand out to you. You're like, that looks interesting. I wouldn't mind trying to cook with that. Those are always good ones to try and to grab, because what's the point in eating the same diet or, you know, a mix of certain foods cycled over and over and over? Like, where's the fun in that? So I would go to the grocery store and pick out things you haven't had before just for the hell of it. And realize that all food is good, because it doesn't make sense for one thing to be better than the other. If you have all requests that you ask for are at the same level, and it's just dependent on your belief in it and your intention to receive it, well, it's the same with food. All food is at the same level. All food will treat your body the same. It's just your belief in it. So if you believe that vegetables help you go to the bathroom and stay, you know, cleansed and regular, that's what you're going to get. If you believe coffee keeps you regular, that's what you'll get. You believe coffee keeps you awake, that's what you'll get. If you believe water keeps you awake, water will be better. If you believe cake makes you feel satisfied, have cake. It's just whatever you're craving for a reason. Your body knows what it needs, and it gives you the clues to help it. So it's more about intuitive eating than, you know, eating because someone told you that you should have that much vegetables and that much fiber and whatever each day. You are smarter than some doctor, nutritionist. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is you should probably go get a cake.
Sweet. Done.
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Yes. Peter, Peter. Be funny when his voice drops. So what kind of cake are we getting?
Whatever Randy picks.
Double decker chocolate
Perfect.
with
My
peanut
favorite.
butter icing.
My favorite.
You can pick it up from Walmart. Take Peyton. Alright, nothing else?
Nope.
Thought we can end 5 minutes early.
Okay.
That's more acceptable to me.
Perfect. I mean, that's horrible.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Alright. Till next week.